Now, in this talk, what we want to be considering is the current immunization schedule, specifically the current immunization schedule in Zambia. What is immunization? Well, immunization is the process of making the person immune against infection by virtue of inoculation. What do we mean when we're talking about inoculation? Well, inoculation is the introduction of pathogens or antigens inside the person's systemic circulation with the aim of wanting that body or that person's systemic circulation to produce antibodies against those antigens that were introduced. So this is quite true because antigens really will stimulate the production of antibodies. So all those vaccines that we give, they are pathogens or antigens. So for example, we might give a BCG vaccine and that contains antigens that causes bacteria. So we want the person to have immunity, and that immunity is going to be acquired immunity. The body didn't have immunity at first, but because the body has come in contact with certain antigens, then it will make antibodies for itself. And then next time, when the person comes in contact with that infection or bacteria or any virus, the body will recognize that it already made antibodies against that antigen. Now, why is this important for us midwives to know about? Well, this is important for us to know about because neonatal infection is one of the most causes of morbidity and mortality around the world. And infants can die even before somebody notices that they were sick, specifically in neonates. So it's very, very important for us to know about this. It's very important for us to remember that our neonates are very susceptible to a lot of infection, and we need to give them the immunity that they need. What is the current immunization schedule in Zambia? Well, in order for us to do this, we make it simple by doing this. So we're going to talk about the vaccine. And we're going to talk about the loot. We talk about the interval at which it is given. In other words, how many times it is given. We talk about the disease that it prevents. And we talk about the loot. So what is the current immunization schedule in Zambia? Now, the first vaccine that we're going to talk about is the BCG vaccine. Now, the BCG vaccine protects against tuberculosis. So the disease it protects, it's tuberculosis. And the loot, remember we talked about the loot. The loot is going to be intradermally, and it's going to be on the deltoid muscle. And this is the deltoid muscle. And this is supposed to be on the left arm. And the dose is 0.5 milligrams. So that is the dose for this BCG vaccine. When we talk about the interval, how often is it given? Well, this vaccine is going to be given at birth. Immediately the baby is born, they're supposed to receive the BCG vaccine. And as well as that, if there were no scars, then we can repeat the vaccine at grade 1. And also, if there are no scars arising, we can still repeat the vaccine at grade 7. So it's very, very important for us to know about this vaccine because the vaccine is going to prevent the child from tuberculosis. What is the next vaccine? So this is the first vaccine. Now the second vaccine is the OPV vaccine. Now, this is also called the polio vaccine. The interval, when is it going to be given? How often? So this vaccine is going to be given from 0 to 13 days. So immediately the baby is born, we are going to give this vaccine because it has a lot of intervals. So it's very, very important to divide it into so OPV 0 is going to be given at 0 to 3 days, to 13 days, sorry. Now, this vaccine also can be repeated at 6 weeks. So we are going to give OPV 1. And this is at 6 weeks. Also, we are going to repeat the vaccine after around about 4 weeks. And that is at 10 weeks. We are going to give OPV 2. Now, also, we are going to repeat the vaccine at around about 4 weeks. That is about 14 weeks. So at 14 weeks, we're going to give OPV 3. Now, to children who never received it at 0 to 13 days, that is, who never received OPV 0, then we can give it at around about 9 months. This is how we give this dose. Now, what is the route for this dose? Well, the route is orally, and the dosage is 2 drops. So we are going to give it orally by virtue of giving the child at around about 2 drops. These are the intervals. The vaccine, the disease it prevents, it's poliomyelitis. Probably we know poliomyelitis is a disease that affects most of the infants, and this is the disease of the spinal cord, mostly affecting the nervous system, the central nervous system, and the spinal cord. So it's very, very important that we give the vaccine to our children. Now, what is the next vaccine that we like to talk about? The next vaccine is this vaccine, the DPT. Now, D stands for diphtheria, P stands for pertussis, T stands for tetanus. Hepatitis type B and Haemophilus influenza type B vaccine. So this vaccine, as it suggests, the name is long. It protects against around about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And it is a single dose protecting at around about 5 diseases. And this vaccine is going to be given intramuscularly. And it's going to be given on the lateral aspect of the left thigh muscle. So it's going to be given on the lateral aspect of the left thigh muscle. So this is the vaccine dose. It's around about 0.5 milligrams. So the dose is 0.5 milligrams. This is diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, hepatitis type B, and Haemophilus influenza type B vaccine. What about the intervals? Well, this vaccine is going to be given twice in intervals, and it's going to be given at 6 weeks. At 6 weeks, we are going to give this vaccine, which is 1. So, in order for us to understand this, we're going to do this. So, we are going to have the one, and this is going to be given at 6 weeks. And as well as that, we're going to have the same one given at 10 weeks. It's around about 4 weeks each interval. And also, we are going to have the same one also given at 14 weeks. So this is the diphtheria, pertussis, tetanus, hepatitis type B, and Haemophilus influenza type B vaccine. Dose is 0.5 milligrams. Route is intramuscularly on the left lateral aspect of the thigh muscle. On the lateral aspect of the left thigh muscle. What about measles vaccine? Well, measles vaccine will prevent against measles. And the route for this vaccine is intramuscularly again, and this one is going to be given on the deltoid muscle as well, and that is on the left side arm. It's going to be on the left arm. What is the interval? This one is only going to be given at 9 months. So the measles vaccine is only given at 9 months. And that's it. The dose is 0.5 milligrams. Route intramuscularly on the left deltoid muscle. What about the this is the the PCV vaccine, the pneumocystic conjugate vaccine. And this will prevent against pneumonia in children. And the dose is going to be 0.5 milligrams. The route for this vaccine is again intramuscularly, but this one is going to be on the opposite. Remember, we said that this was going to be on the lateral aspect of the left thigh muscle, but this one is going to be on the lateral aspect of the right thigh muscle. So the pneumocystic conjugate vaccine is going to be given on the lateral aspect of the right thigh muscle. The dose is 0.5 milligrams. The route is intramuscularly. The disease it prevents, it's going to prevent against pneumonia. And the interval for this vaccine, also it's going to be at 6 weeks. At 6 weeks, we are going to give this one. At 10 weeks, we are going to give 2. And at 14 weeks, we are going to give 3. So the interval apparently is just about at around about 4 weeks. That is making the difference. Now, what about the Lota vaccine? The last one. And this one, the disease it prevents against diarrhea. What about the dose? This one is going to be orally, and the dose is going to be 2 drops. The interval it's going to be at 6 months and at 12 months. So these are some of the vaccines that we give in the current immunization schedule that is adopted in Zambia currently.